Alrighty, so my first look at the SDS, the Smart Turn system. The packaging looks pretty good. It looks like they've spent a bit of money on the actual packaging itself. So I'm going to do this in stages. I'm going to install it on my CX500. I'm going to do a video on how to install it. There's a few wires that need to be sorted out. I'm assuming I've started taking off the little cluster of wires that I've got going up there. So yeah, I plan on doing it in stages. First would be installing it on this fairly stock bike, and then showing you how to install it yourself. Obviously taking it out of the packaging, showing you what's in the package, and then taking it after it's installed, taking it for a test ride and show you it working, so that you can see it actually physically doing what it says it does. And if it doesn't do what it says it does, then I'm going to also tell you that as well. So any problems or any issues that I have, I'm going to put into this video. So if you do plan on getting this, you know exactly what you're up for. Let's get stuck into it. And I don't know if you know how important this is. If you've had a bike for a while, you'd know that if you're going straight and you've got your left indicator on from a turn that you've already made, and you're just cruising along and you don't realize that it's flashing away, and there's a car that's about to pull on to the street that's in front of you that's coming up on the left hand side, and they think you're turning left because your left indicator is on, and then they just pull out on you, but you had no intention to turn left, and you either got to hit the anchors or you're going to hit the side of the car. And that to me is like, and I'm assuming a lot of the new bikes have something in place, but the cafe races, the stuff that I do, is going to be older and won't have any of this in place, and it's just a huge thing. Like, it only takes that 1 second to be not concentrating on what you're doing and just forget to turn that indicator off, and that's all it takes, and then someone pulls out on you thinking that you're turning and you're not. So this is definitely going on my bike to test, and then if it works, it's going on every single bike like I mentioned before. I've completed the install on this Smart Turn system on the CX500. I'm not going to tell you how it went, you're going to have to watch the video, but I am going to tell you what tools I've used to complete the process. So if you do plan to do this install, that is all you're going to need. Every bike is going to be different, I totally understand that, so you may need a few Allen keys or bits and pieces, but it's a fairly basic install. You don't need much, and you just follow this guy here. Obviously the module itself, so obviously you get the module on a bunch of wires, so they look fun. And if you've seen any of my videos, then you'll know how fun and how much I enjoy wiring. So like I said, this is going to be a fairly honest review, and on how easy it is to install, or how if it does or doesn't work. So you get a bag of little soft rubbery foamy bits. I'm assuming they go inside the actual turn control. You get 3 bullet females and 3 bullet males, plus 2, looks like they're crimp wire connectors, and also some zip ties, 2 cable ties, and some instructions. The instructions look fairly straightforward. You've got stages, like steps to follow, which is absolutely awesome. Good job, guys. And on the other side, it just shows you a little bit of, it's not just instructions, it's actually images, like pictures of what to do. Rookie mistake, that one. What I've done here is find the location of the loom from the control on the left, and found the connector that goes all the way through to the actual harness. You don't necessarily need to take your tank or seat off, but by doing that, it just helped me find the actual main harness, because I don't want to cut on this side of this connector, I want to cut on this side, which goes straight to the controls. Worst case scenario, if you ever need to change this, then you can just unplug it and put a brand new one on, or second-hand one for this case. I don't think you can find new stuff. So yeah, that's what I've done, and I'm going to cut. I've located I'm pretty sure the left is orange, right is blue. Keeping in mind that this complete cluster of wires here, and the little dodgy earth and thing that I have going on, this bike is next in line for, I don't know when you'll be watching this video, but this bike is going to be getting the Cafe Racer chop and all the modifications. So if you haven't seen any of those videos, go and check them out, they're pretty cool. So yeah, don't worry too much about the messiness going on. That's why I chose to use this bike for my donor. Before I chop anything, and recommended before you chop anything, just double check to make sure that these wires are exactly what you think they are. And it gives you the type of bike that you have, and it tells you the color of the wiring. Really cool. So basically mine's a Honda, so if you have any of those bikes, this thing looks like it's going to work for you, because they'll give you the diagram colors that's just easy to follow. For me, my right is light blue, my left is orange, and my signal is grey. This is going to your handlebars. This one is actually on the motorcycle itself. So for instance, I want to put the bullet connectors on the actual handlebar side, because these already have bullets, so these want the female ends coming from the motorcycle. So your loom is going to have the opposite to this, which is the female version. Just something to keep in mind. It's a simple thing to make a mistake with if you're not like paying attention. Roll. So I'm going to cut here, and I only need those two wires, the light blue and the orange. So I'm going to cut them around about here, and this is the grey obviously, which I'll probably just cut at the same length, probably around there. So I'll cut those three wires now. Make sure your power's off. So I need to cut that one, and that one about the same length, so that one there. There's no turning back now. So a really cool thing that they've done is they've designed this in such a way that if for whatever reason you do want to take the module out and just put it back to the way it was originally, then it's just a matter of just connecting these things back up in their original homes, and then just running some electrical tape around it, or heat shrink, or whatever you want, and just you're done. You pretty much, it's back the way it was originally. No dramas. So even if you mess the install up, as long as you get that bit right, then you're pretty much there. You just can put it all back to the way it was, and then you can ride your bike that night if you weren't confident enough to finish the install. But really, that's pretty much it. Apart from a power wire is all I really have to do now. Power and earth, and it's pretty much done, and then I have to find a mounting point for it. I was poking around before to try and find a good positive, and this little guy here comes from something that's obviously not on the bike anymore, but it is a permanent power when the accessory is on. So when I put the keys in, turn it on, we'll have power on this, as you can see from the light, but the second that I turn that off, power goes out. So that's exactly what you want. You don't want anything to run permanently on the bike, nothing, because if you do and you leave the bike for a length of weeks or months, it will draw power from the battery and it will drain your battery. So you want something that is, and they recommend something that's going to be only powered when the bike's on, because obviously you don't need it when you're not riding the bike, and that's perfect, because that's going to be exactly what I want. Now I just need to find somewhere to run an earth. So another cool little thing about this is that these little guys just go onto your wire. So for instance, this little wire here, which is my earth, and it just pushes on, and then the cables that they give you in the kit obviously just push over the top of that. So you actually don't need to really, you're only tapping into the wire, you don't need to cut this one. This is just your positive and your earth. So you don't actually need to cut any of your positive or earth wires, so it's no big drama. So left into purple, brown into grey, the white will be going to the orange, And that's that side done. So going back the other way, yellow is your right, which is orange. Your flasher relay once again, that is blue, obviously the last one, which is pretty self-explanatory. Blue into green. I'm just going to plug the power, which is red, to this guy. Plug this one, which is in ground, straight into that guy. So what they recommend with this is to finding a mounting position facing where the arrow is, with the logo facing forward, and it needs to be sat on something flat. So it needs to sit basically as it is, like that. Obviously not where it is, but like that. Just the way it works, it just needs to be somewhere flat facing forward, preferably zip tied on. So I think the hardest part of this is trying to find somewhere where to mount it. Now I'm just going to place him in there and run a zip tie. Maybe instead of going through that hole that goes all the way through the chassis, I might just run it around this shroud here and just hold it in place so it doesn't move. Like I said, it's not permanent. This is just a temporary fix to do a test and see how it all goes. The 2 zip ties that they give you in the kit look like they're way long enough for what you need. So I'm just going to use one of those. Just the 1 zip tie holding that in place is all it needs. It's not going anywhere. I'll just cut off that excess. There's only one thing left to do on the install, is take this controller off and put these little rubber foam pieces in where this selects left and right, just to make it so that it bounces back in the center, so it doesn't stay on one side. That's all it's really for, and I'll explain why once I've done it. So with me moving this lever left and right, you can see there's a little gap here that opens, and same thing on that side. So what you want to do is you want to fill that gap with the right size foam little round disc that they give you. There's a couple of different sizes there. I'm assuming from looking at that, I'm going to need the real big fat ones, but depending on your style of motorbike, you may need the thinner ones, or you may need to cut these down, just take a slither off them if this doesn't work at all. But I'm assuming one of those 2 sizes should be okay for you. Okay, so now I've got those big foam things in there, and it's really hard to push, but I don't seem to be getting anything at the moment. So I'm just going to take them back out again and see if I can get the signals to work. Before I do that, I'll turn it all off. So maybe those big fat foam ones are just a little bit too big. So I'm going to try the next size down. 1 in there like so. So if I turn the ignition on now, then if I go left, as you can see, it's working. Later on, just gonna go left here and see if it turns off. Still going. And boom, she's gone off. How good is that? That's awesome. So just changing lanes, the vibration and everything works. See, as you can see, it's blinking at the moment, and it will go for about 15 flashes, I think, something around there, and then it will turn off. See, there we go, it's off now. So I put my blinker on here and I'm sitting at the traffic lights, and it's just going to flash away up until I actually make that turn. And as soon as the bike does the tilt and the vibration changes, it'll know that I've done the turn and it'll turn off. It's extremely clever. I've been using this bike for a little bit of time with this on it, and I wanted to make sure I did a thorough test before
actually, you know, promoting it, I'd say. So as you see, now I'm making the turn, and you watch that light flashing. And it's just gone out, as you can see now. Alright, you're going to take a left here. As you see, it turns off pretty quick. I think sometimes when I actually do a quick turn and then shuffle back, like the actual motion of the bike doing this, I think actually turns it off fairly fast compared to other times when you just turn gradually and then you go straight. I don't think that turns it off as fast. That's what I've noticed anyway. I'm not 100% sure, so don't quote me on that one. Right turn. And it's off. Alrighty. Left indicator on to do this little chicane. See what it does. And see the tilt. I think it's the tilt that makes it turn off really fast, because I just thought it did this and bang, she was off. I'm about to do a U-turn here and just see how it goes. Alrighty, that's a U-turn. And she's out. So in all honesty, the smart turn system and the smart brake module are pretty amazing devices. This one obviously is the one I'm doing the review on at the moment, the smart turn system. But had the company not approached me and asked me to do a review and actually given me the two products, if they hadn't have done that, I would have been looking for something like this. And if I had have found it, then I would have grabbed it straight away, because this inner safety thing on a bike, like when you're traveling in one direction and if you've got your left indicator on and there's a car coming this way and they're about to come out and go left themselves, if they see your left indicator on, they're going to assume that you're taking that left, and in turn you'll probably have to jam your brakes on, or, you know, alternatively hit them, which you don't want to do. So, you know, like, it is a pretty big safety thing on a bike, and a lot of older bikes just don't have it. They just don't have that equipped. Like, some do, yes, I get it, but on a bike like this, no, there's nothing. It's just, you've got to remember to turn that off. And if it's the one time that you just forget because you had an argument with someone or something went wrong, something happened, you're just in your own little zone, you are paying attention to the road, not so much what you're doing here, and you didn't see that light flashing, then, you know, it's that one time. And this is just idiot proof. You don't have to think about it. You turn it on and it turns off itself. So you don't have to think about that anymore. You can now enjoy your ride and have fun and not have to think about having to turn your indicator off. It's just awesome for people with bikes who have had their bike for a long time, who have gotten in a habit of doing it but every now and again forget because they only ride on the weekends, or for someone who's a newbie who hasn't ridden and who's just about to buy a bike or looking at building a bike, for instance. They think, you know what, that is cool because then I don't have to really think about that, and now I can concentrate on learning how to ride. So they're just a couple of things and reasons why I think this is an amazing device. And if you do want to grab it, your next step is just go and press the link in the description below and go and grab one for yourself and get that discount. And yeah.
So if you want to grab one of these things for yourself, all you got to do is press the link in the description below. The company that actually approached me, who supplied these for me to do the review, has actually given me a discount to pass on to you to install on your bike. I've left two links in there. The first one is obviously the discount, and that's both the smart turn system as well as the smart brake module. And the second link is the Amazon. If you're just happy and comfortable with using Amazon, all you got to do is press the Amazon link and boom, it'll send it straight to your house. So if you haven't seen the smart brake module, then go and check that video out. If it's not released right now, then it will be coming very soon. This video is coming out first, and then the smart brake module. These are very, very easy to install, very simple stuff. If at any point you do get stuck with the install, you can always reach out to the company. They're really fast with their replies, and they're very tech savvy, so they can help you at any point if you have any dramas. They will be happy to answer any questions. Ride safe, and I'll see you in the next video.